Welcome to this episode of VCF Breakroom Chat. My name is Jay Thontakudi. I'm a Principal Product Marketing Manager in the VCF division here in Broadcom. Among the areas of focus for me, I have vSphere Kubernetes Service, open source software, and technology partnership. Joining me today in this episode is Timmy Carr, who is the Director of Product Management. And among the many different hats he wears, his focus areas include Kubernetes stack and cloud consumption stack. Welcome to this episode, Timmy.
Thanks for having me, Jay. I'm glad to be here as always.
Thank you. At Explore Las Vegas, we announced the expansion of our relationship with Canonical. This partnership brings together VCF, which is the number one private cloud platform, with Ubuntu OS from Canonical, which is the number one cloud operating system. So today we'll discuss with Timmy the benefits of this partnership and what it means to our customers. So to get started, Timmy, our relationship with Canonical goes back several years. So what are some of the motivations of expanding this partnership with Canonical?
Yeah, I think, I'm going to take this from the Kubernetes perspective because that's the area that I work in. And I think it can kind of help set the scene for like the areas that we're really improving in this space. Once upon a time, we delivered our stack with Photon operating system as the underlying operating system for Kubernetes in our stack. We've added support for Ubuntu, and we've had that for the past couple years at least. And one of the things that we wanted to do with this is provide additional capabilities in our stack, right? So as a user of Kubernetes, you automatically had support for that Ubuntu operating system if you wanted to use it in VKS in our Kubernetes distribution, right? We find that people want to take that operating system and do additional things with it. And that could be things like use images that are optimized for that operating system. And Canonical has a great solution for that in their chiseled images. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Separately, AI has become a really hot topic, as everyone knows. And I don't want to make people roll their eyes in saying that. But what I will say is that in looking at AI, getting a operating system with all of the components needed to properly exercise a GPU is somewhat difficult. If you look at enterprise customers and air gap scenarios or customers in scenarios like that, that's even a bigger problem for folks. And so we looked at that as an opportunity as well, right? And so these are a couple of areas. The final area is that, hey, we are a hypervisor company at heart. That's where we started. And people use our stack to, fundamentally run operating systems. Well, we've had a lot of success with the Ubuntu operating system in our VKS stack. Getting a supported version of the operating system to end users is also another thing that we thought would be really pretty great. And so tying all of those pieces together and allowing us to deliver that as one cohesive package is really something that we looked at and thought would be a really great thing for our customers.
Well, there's a lot of scope to cover, a lot of things to unpack here, right? When I think about chiseled containers, as you mentioned, I'm thinking we are putting containers on a diet. Um, can you go into more details on what the benefits for customers looks like here?
Yeah, one of the common patterns that's evolved in the Kubernetes community is the concept of a distroless image, and really kind of these chiseled images can effectively align with that distroless kind of playbook. At its heart, what we're talking about with this pattern is really optimizing all of the components that we actually put into a base container image. The container image forms the base of what an application developer on Kubernetes would actually build their application around. So for example, if you're writing a Python application, right? Like that Python application is going to need that Python runtime around it so the application can actually function. So the developer will commonly place a version of Python into the image with their application so that it will run. Now, developers historically will say, oh, well, I just need Python, so I'll just use Python. But in doing so, you're bringing in a whole bunch of dependencies from the Python kind of set of software that you're bringing in that you might not even need to run your application, which uses a subset of it. So what we're going to provide our customers are some certified and hardened versions of, Python, .NET, Java, Go, Rust, for you to build images with of your applications, right? This is going to allow these developers to build their applications, but it's also going to give you, as the person who's operating the platform, peace of mind that we're giving you whittled down versions of these that are, leaving aside the things that are commonly not needed in this space. And by doing so, you're naturally improving your security posture, right? I think the other thing that really is really interesting here is that by doing that, you take the size of that image and you reduce it. So let's take the Python size, right? Like normally like 200 megs or so, like just for an image size. And then you're layering your app on top of that, right? Well, I mean, like with a standard chiseled image, you're down to 50 megs. Now, while this might not matter in a data center environment, you can think about running something like that in an edge environment, pulling those container images from a centralized repository somewhere. That actually takes time to get your app up and running. Furthermore, it takes system resources to actually house and run these sorts of applications. So I think there's optimizations everywhere, along with better security posture. And if we can do that for our end users by default, why would we not? Right. And that's really kind of what we saw here as the opportunity.
Oh, this is really fantastic. We are talking about many things here, right? Developer autonomy with the kind of landscape you're talking about, enhanced security, improved efficiency. So basically, we are looking at a leaner, meaner, chiseled containers, so to speak. Um, the aspect that you touched on earlier, Ubuntu OS, widely adopted by customers, um, the number one cloud operating system of choice. In terms of customers' experience with our integration of Ubuntu OS with VCF, can you elaborate a little bit more what that would mean?
Sure. What we would expect to do, we already ship Ubuntu OS as a Node OS in VKS, and our customers just consume that as a part of the VKS package. Historically, we've delivered virtual machines, and we haven't delivered operating systems as a part of that. Customers will bring their own Windows operating systems. They will install Windows. They will install a license key or assign it to a licensing server, and they'll run those sorts of things. Out of the box, though, we're telling our customers we want to give them a cloud with VCF. And part of having a cloud and part of having a service out there that delivers virtual machines is having an operating system that can be delivered with that. And so in the future, what we're planning on doing here as a part of this announcement is delivering the ability to run these Ubuntu operating systems in your cloud. And so you can expect to have full support from Broadcom for this Ubuntu operating system that can be used to back virtual machines in your cloud, and that will include the support lifecycle that you normally see from the VCF stack.
That's really fantastic. I think it further helps further reduce the friction for building and deploying applications. This is really, really great. You touched on AI. I know every enterprise has a strategy for accelerating their private AI deployments. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the AI aspects of this partnership?
I'm a nerd at heart, and in my office, in my lab, I'm building out some machines that run AI, right? And like I have my own little like small scale LLMs that are running in my lab. Yeah, as a part of doing that, and especially as a part of doing that on bare metal, you quickly realize I have to have this driver for that. I have to have that driver that doesn't quite work for this set of hardware. So I need to compile something, and I need to do this, that, or the other to get this thing working. Sometimes it's like, oh, I have an AMD card, or I have an NVIDIA card, or whatever, right? And you're working to enable that hardware in your stack. Part of this is just getting the right drivers for your operating system here. So we know, like, as a part of this, hey, if we're already going to ship the Ubuntu OS for our users to consume, why not just include the drivers that are going to be the supported drivers for the video card, or for the accelerators. I'm sorry, video cards is what I'm playing with in my lab, but for the accelerators that you're going to actually leverage as a part of your data center deployments, right? And really, that's the genesis around what we're trying to deliver here. Why are we doing this? Okay, think about this. We have a vast number of customers who work in air-gapped environments. Okay. And what that means is, like, every bit of software has to be downloaded to some external machine, placed, scanned, vetted, those sorts of things, and then placed into the air gap environment. And this is for many customers and many verticals, right? Like this is in healthcare, this is in energy, this is in all kinds of different spaces.
So,
When you work in an environment like that, just simply getting a driver to make the accelerator work in your stack is another step that it takes to actually get that into the environment. And so this is just added value for the fact that we're going to have these operating systems that you may want to have work with one of these GPUs for one of these accelerators. And so we're going to be delivering that as a part of this as well. We feel that that's a pretty good advancement for the experience for those customers.
so obviously, we are bringing quite a bunch of benefits for our customers, and I think if I get you right, all these benefits with the partnership integration should help accelerate building and deploying modern applications, including AI applications in the customer environment, whether it is increasing developer autonomy or enhancing security and improving efficiency. These are some wonderful insights to me from this episode, and thank you for joining me in providing some key valuable inputs on what this brings to the table for our customers.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. It's really key to show how we're impacting all those different personas, right? From the developer to the platform operator, the person that's running and building the cloud. We hope that these improvements really speak to those different personas as a part of our stack. And as always, we thank our customers for giving us the feedback that have helped drive these decisions. Thanks so much for the time, Jay.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, join us for the next one. This is your host, Jay Tontakuri with Timmy Carr, signing off. Have a good day, good evening. Cheers, and bye for now.
See you.